Hello and welcome to a short introduction about the new JCR e-commerce framework, JECIS. Did you know there is a brand new way for building enterprise and B2B commerce experiences? No? Well, then let me show you. Today you have three ways to build a commerce experience. 1. You go with the CMS. 2. You use an e-commerce tool or an e-commerce solution. And 3, you try to integrate both systems into one. But there's also a fourth option to build compelling enterprise commerce experiences. Does this sound crazy? Let us compare the 4 options you have today. The CMS may be brilliant to build genuine content experiences, but it comes with little to no commerce capabilities, and it will make it challenging to build a retail site. On the other hand, building a website with an e-commerce solution can be quite a challenging process. Or would you use Microsoft Word to do spreadsheet calculations? I believe not. Therefore, the third option, integrating a CMS with an e-commerce solution, is getting more and more popular. However, this approach has also proven to be very cumbersome, time-consuming, and especially costly. And on top of it, you usually are restricted to building retail-type e-commerce solutions. And the main reason for an integration to be so cumbersome is that the commerce data resides in the e-commerce solution as well as the commerce functionality. So if you want your CMS to tap into the e-commerce solution, you have to invest a lot of coding and a lot of time to make these two systems work together. But what if your CMS could handle all the e-commerce content and all the commerce functionality such as checkouts, payments, promotions, and so forth would be managed by an API that is contained within the CMS and available to the CMS developers? So yes, JECIS is precisely this e-commerce framework which installs directly into the CMS and extends your CMS to be a full-fledged e-commerce content management system. And best of it, you will build your commerce experiences only with your CMS. The JCR e-commerce framework includes a CMS-managed web application which authors and marketers will use to configure and to maintain all their commerce content. Furthermore, the JECIS API provides all the commerce functionality in form of API-style libraries which your developers can use to build compelling commerce experiences. The developers can use carts, checkouts, promotions, payment modules, everything out of the box, but they can also use the API to build and customize more compelling and more personalized solutions. To summarize, there are lots of benefits of using the JCR e-commerce framework JECIS. First of all, it's content-centric, which means that authors and marketers will control all the commerce content and also the complete commerce experience. And secondly, it's all in your CMS. So you're going to use only your CMS to build compelling commerce experiences. And the third, perhaps most important feature, you are not restricted to retail sites only. With JECIS, e-commerce is content, which means you can create commerce experiences for hotels, resorts, insurances, auctions, and everything you can think of. It's open to all the industries. And since JECIS is built on the JCR content repository and Apache Sling, everything is headless out of the box. This means that your commerce content can not only be used for desktop or mobile, but it can also be distributed to storefronts, to signages, and any other channels using standard headless architecture. But before we dig into a short demo of JECIS, let me mention that JECIS is not intended to replace any of the 3 ways for building commerce experiences. Instead, it's intended to be installed into your favorite CMS and allow you to use only your CMS to build compelling enterprise and B2B commerce experiences. Are you curious to get a glance of JECIS? Well, then it's time for a short walkthrough. After installing JECIS, the commerce content web application JIM will appear in the AEM navigation pane. JIM, the JECIS Information Management, is a React application. This allows you to run JIM outside of your AEM instance, for example, in a Sling server instance. This way you can create your commerce content being completely independent of any CMS. This commerce environment is completely managed by marketers or authors. The entire commerce environment is structured into commerce components, or as we call them, commerce elements. Each commerce element is a distinct piece of the commerce environment. Authors can use the full range of default, out-of-the-box commerce elements to manage all their commerce content. However, authors can also create new, custom commerce elements if needed. When you start a new commerce project, the first thing you do is create or select a new JECIS store. A store is like a top folder in your commerce environment. It contains all the commerce content that is related to that store. Once you have selected your JECIS store, you will continue with defining the lookup content, then continue with setting up the modules, and at last you will start working with the main commerce elements. A commerce element consists mainly of a comprehensive commerce content dialog, which authors use to manage all their commerce content. Let's look at such a commerce element. For example, the social media links commerce element. When you load a commerce element into the workspace pane, you will see three major sections. The first one is a list of the previously added entries. The second one is a search option which has been tested with up to 1 million entries. And the third one are the buttons that open the commerce content dialogs. Clicking on one of the buttons will open the commerce content dialog, either to add a new entry or to edit an existing one. These commerce content dialogs are very similar to the dialogs in an AEM component. In our case though, these dialogs are fully configurable. You can hide fields, you can add fields, and you can take advantage of many field types from date, text, rich text editor, or in this case, from an asset finder. In fact, you can even add tabs. And inside the tabs you have fields but also lists of previously added entries. Let us take a quick peek at a product to see how such tabs and lists are being used. Here I am selecting a product from the list of previously added products. Then I will click on the Manage Profiles button to get a list of previously added product profiles. You can look at product profiles like product variations. In our case, we have only one product profile. Let me select it and then click on the Edit Profile button, which will open the Commerce Content dialog in which I want to show you the tabs and lists which are possible within JECIS. Here you see a Commerce Content dialog with tabs. The General tab has no lists, and this content is used and stored only once. The Colors tab, however, shows a list. Here you can select colors to edit them, or you can add new colors and they will be added to the list. Here is another example, the Prices tab. And the Images tab is used to select images from the DAM and assign them to the product profile. Apropos profiles, whenever possible, JECIS takes advantage of the powerful profile concept well known to the Adobe Experience Manager. I'm sure you all heard of a user profile. The advantage of using a profile is that you can add content at any given time dynamically to any product. This was a brief introduction into JIM, showing you the powerful capabilities you have for building all your commerce content using the Adobe Experience Manager. But before we take a look at some sample AEM components, let me add a small section for developers. For a component that is used to show commerce content on a web page, such as product lists or a single product page, The developer will build model classes that use the JECIS API to retrieve all the properties of a commerce element. For all the commerce functionality, such as carts, checkouts, or payments, the developer can either use the out-of-the-box functionality from the JECIS API or can create their own custom functionality as needed. Note that there is no integration to any e-commerce solution needed. The commerce content is provided by AEM authors using JIM, and the developers build the components and finalize the commerce functionality using the JECIS API. Everything happens within AEM. So for the very first time, you can use your CMS to build full-fledged enterprise commerce experiences. That said, it's time to enter our last section of the JECIS introduction and take a look at some sample AEM components. To do so, we will switch to the new AEM demo site, Weekend. This demo site replaces the old AEM demo site, we.retail. We will use this demo site to show you a few of the sample AEM components we have created. The first thing you will notice about this demo site is that they actually have prepared a page called Shopping, but if you take a closer look, there's no shopping experience. It's just an empty page with an article. So we added a few more Weekend landing pages. And for the article pages, we replaced the article component with a commerce component. The product list component is a regular AEM component. The author uses the component dialog to set a few parameters, and then the HTML script will display all the products that match the selection. First, the author selects the store from which the products shall be displayed. Then a JavaScript will populate the categories drop-down field, which allows the author to narrow down the list of products. And at last, the author can select a page where a single product will be displayed. Clicking on a product in the list, for example the helmet, will show the product details on the page that the author has selected in the product list component. All these product details, like the images, title, description, and the other content elements, are all coming from JECIS. All this commerce content has been managed by authors using the commerce management web application JIM. The whole commerce experience is created and managed with the Adobe Experience Manager. There is no integration to a third-party e-commerce solution involved. The commerce functionality can be added the same way by using components. Let us add the chain tool and the blue helmet to the cart. Then we switch to the new cart page we have created, in which we are using a new cart commerce component. The checkout page has been built in a very similar way. Here we also use an AEM component we created, the checkout commerce component. Agreed, this checkout component is still in a prototype stage. However, it shows you how you can use components to build a comprehensive checkout process, either as a one-page checkout, multi-page checkout, or as the implementation requires. And with this said, we reach the end of our introduction into building commerce experiences with the Adobe Experience Manager and the JCR e-commerce framework, JECIS. To summarize, if you want to build more than just a traditional retail type e-commerce experience, you will want to use the Adobe Experience Manager in conjunction with the JCR e-commerce framework, JECIS. By installing JECIS, you extend AEM with a commerce content management system and with a full-fledged commerce functionality library. Using AEM for your whole commerce project has some interesting advantages over the traditional way of building commerce experiences. One of the biggest advantages is that you don't need to install and maintain a third-party e-commerce solution anymore. You don't need any engineers to take care of your content. All commerce content is managed directly by authors and marketers and is completely independent of any functionality. This makes it perfect for creating content and distributing it among multiple channels using the headless architecture. Furthermore, you can take full advantage of all the powerful features of the CMS. This can be versioning, full text search, but also analytics. There is also no additional infrastructure needed. Remember, JECIS installs directly into aem. All these advantages summarize into significantly lower licensing, development, and maintenance costs. And that will of course shorten your project timeline significantly as well. And the perhaps biggest advantage of the aem-JECIS combination is that you are now industry independent. You can build non-retail type commerce experiences as well, such as hotel resorts, insurances, or sporting events, meaning all experiences in which you combine genuine content with commerce capabilities. I hope I was able to tickle your interest. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. We gladly will provide you with more information, maybe a deeper dive into the aem-JECIS combination, or even if it's just for requesting free developer licenses of JECIS. Thanks a lot for your interest in JECIS.
JECIS, your site is your store.